One breath of silence, the arc snaps, everything breaks. Power plummets, pressure mounts. Under the clock, they force the reactor up, against warnings. No one in the room was told the full danger. The design could bite at low power. The reactor turned twitchy, surges lurking beneath the gauges. They bypassed interlocks to keep the test alive. Shortcuts stacked. One step from the edge and still moving. Minutes from disaster, routine turned ritual. Each click, a quiet mistake. 1:23 a.m., the test begins. As cooling pumps lost power, the core temperature began to rise. A spike, the order, AZ-5, emergency shutdown. A hand drops the switch. Meant to save them, those graphite tips drove power upward first. Power detonates upward, instantly. Steam rips through steel. The lid, 2,000 tons, throws free. The second blast tears the building open. Fire climbs, the night takes it. People in the nearby city of Pripyat saw a strange, ethereal glow above the power plant. Inside the control room, alarms scream, instruments lie, and no one knows which reading to trust. Believing the core intact, they sent men into a reactor that wasn't there. The fire burned for days, carrying a plume of radioactive isotopes on the winds across Europe. While they hid the truth, distant alarms told it for them. The poison in the wind was invisible, but its signature was undeniable. They were called the liquidators. More than 500,000 people mobilized to fight an unseen enemy. Firefighters, soldiers, miners, and scientists assembled to contain the disaster. First in, first poisoned. The firefighters climbed into blue fire. Young conscripts, called biorobots, were sent to the roof of the adjacent reactor. They shoveled radioactive graphite back into the core, working for only seconds before their lifetime dose was reached. Miners dug a tunnel beneath the melting core, a desperate effort to prevent the radioactive lava from contaminating the groundwater. For over a month, liquidators dug day and night in scorching heat and high radiation. Driven by a sense of duty, they came from every corner of a vast empire to fight a battle they could not see. They buried contaminated villages and felled radioactive forests, sealing the wound with their own health. But the human cost was immeasurable. The radioactive cloud released an estimated 400 times more radioactive material than the atomic bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. This contamination settled into the soil, the water, and the food chain. The most direct consequence was a dramatic spike in thyroid cancer, a painful shadow that persists over the region. Children, adolescents, and cleanup workers faced a host of health problems, including increased long-term risks of cancer and cardiovascular diseases. After the blast came silence, then fear. Displaced lives unraveled in slow motion. Millions lived with the psychological burden of being labeled Chernobyl victims, a stress passed down through generations. The vast exclusion zone was evacuated, and while it became an unintended wildlife sanctuary, the land remains a patchwork of contamination. Long-lived isotopes will remain in the soil for centuries, an invisible threat that complicates any thought of a full return to normal life. The initial concrete sarcophagus, built in haste, was a crumbling, unstable structure, in danger of collapse. An international effort produced the new safe confinement, a colossal steel arch designed to permanently shelter the reactor. Built in two halves, a safe distance away, it was slowly slid into place over the old decaying structure in 2016, a monumental engineering achievement. The new safe confinement, the largest land-based object ever moved by humanity, was designed to last for 100 years. Its purpose, to contain the radioactive material and allow for the robotic dismantling of the ruined reactor from within its protective embrace. Its completion brought a sense of security, averting the threat of a structural collapse and another massive release of radioactive dust. Under its gleaming shell, complex robotic cranes and monitoring systems stood ready. The great steel arc stood as a symbol of international cooperation, a triumph of engineering over a lingering nuclear nightmare. Tourists returned, drawn by the haunting emptiness of Pripyat. The zone was a living museum, promising a stable future. But that stability was shattered on February 14, 2025. The quiet of the exclusion zone was broken by an explosion. A small, unmanned drone struck the roof of the new safe confinement. The attack was precise, breaching the outer and inner steel cladding, tearing a visible hole in the structure. Thankfully, the robust design of the NSC held. The IAEA reported no significant release of radioactive dust, and radiation levels remained stable. But the psychological impact was profound. A place of accidental horror had become a deliberate target, touched by modern warfare. The site had been caught in conflict before. During the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, Russian forces occupied the plant, digging trenches in the highly radioactive Red Forest and raising international alarm. But the 2025 drone strike was a new and frightening escalation. It proved that the new safe confinement, for all its engineering might, was not invincible. The hole in the roof was small, but it was a powerful symbol that in a world of changing threats, even the most fortified places are not entirely safe. The story of Chernobyl is a story of layers. The disaster was not a single mistake, but a cascade of them, born from a flawed design and a system that prioritized production over precaution. But it is also a story of immense courage, of the firefighters, miners, and liquidators who sacrificed their health to contain the poison held within. The bravery of those who ran toward danger is a legacy as much a part of Chernobyl as the radiation. The exclusion zone, with its returning forests and wildlife, may look peaceful, but the contamination is patient. Under its new steel shell, the ruined reactor still holds tons of nuclear fuel and dust. Constant monitoring is a reminder the threat is only managed. The 2025 drone strike now adds another layer of uncertainty. The world learned hard lessons from that April night in 1986. Nuclear safety standards were rewritten, an entire industry forced to confront its vulnerability. A new hole and a new shield, proof that containment never sleeps. The question hangs over the steel and stays.